A few months ago, I created a video showing you how to swap an electric power steering pump into your car. Now, I did it on my 1986 Nissan 300ZX, and while that video is a wealth of information, it might just be a bit much for people to view, mainly because it's about an hour and a half long. Now, I did try to make the video a little bit easier for people to consume by splitting it up into multiple videos. However, that just split up all the information over longer periods of time. So this video is going to be the solution to that problem, and it's going to be a quick-ish video for you to be able to get the baseline of information of what you would need to complete this yourself. So without further ado, let's hop right into it. I want to start off by saying I am no authority on this whatsoever. This is just the information that I got when I was doing all my research. So I'm going to split this up into two camps, one which I will call the dumb pumps, and then the other which I will call the smart pumps. Now, to start off, the dumb pumps are going to be the ones that you can just give positive and negative, and it will be good to go, and it will run at one specific rate 24/7. The other side of it is going to be your smart pumps, which are going to require a bit more work, are a little bit more wiring intensive, but will give you a lot more controllability for the pump. And it also does have a higher price to entry. Now for the smart pumps. With these, you're going to need some type of CAN signal going to the pump so that it's able to turn on and run at its specific rate. Now, this does require the use of a controller, which at this point in time is only available from one company that goes by the name Hang Tight. Now, this is a bit pricey of a piece. However, it does open up a lot of capabilities, allowing you to change the rate of the pump with a potentiometer, or by giving it a PWM signal for it to change the rate based off any other parameters if you're running, say, a standalone ECU. Now, the pump that I went with was a Mazda pump, which is one of the smart pumps. I only picked this because it's what was available. I was not aware of this information when I initially bought the pump. If I were to make my life a lot easier and to make the price of entry a lot simpler, I would have gone with one of the dumb pumps. Next, we're going to have to work out where to mount the pump. Now, the good news is that these were all remote pumps, so they were pretty much meant to be put anywhere that wasn't directly attached to the engine, and the only limitations are going to be the amount of space needed for the pump itself, ability to be able to fill the pump or top off the fluid if need be, and also the amount of hose that's going to be needed. Now, at this point, you're going to need some type of metal fabrication knowledge or ability. And the reason why is because all of these pumps were designed for the cars that they're going into, and all the provisions for them to be mounted are built into the chassis. This can be circumvented, however, by creating your own mounting solution that you can send off to a laser cutting service. This way you can make it so that it is a bolt-on solution, and all you'll have to do on the car is drill a couple holes and put in a couple riv nuts. We need a way for us to get the hoses and the wires needed to the pump. Now, the easiest way to deal with this is going to be either reusing a grommet that is not occupied wherever you're putting it if it's not going to be in the engine bay. For instance, if you mount it in your trunk. Now, you're going to have to attach the cables and the hoses to the chassis so that they don't drag on the ground or get caught on anything whenever you're driving around. The easiest way to generally do this is to run them inside your side skirts. I did something very similar with the hose management for my air suspension on my 335xi. Now, the wiring for both the smart and the dumb pumps are pretty straightforward. The difference being is the smart pump is going to require that additional controller, which you'll also need to run power to, and also run the signal connections from the controller to the pump. Since the dumb pumps don't have a way of turning off or on other than getting power, you're going to have to run a relay in between it. Now, there's two ways that you can switch that relay. You can either have a manual switch that you'll have up by the driver's seat that you can turn off and on so that you can get that power steering on demand, or the other option, which is going to be tapping into the power of something in the car that gets power dependent on switched or on power states. The easiest way to do this is by tapping into it from the fuse box based off the labeling, or if you're similar to me and prefer a more OEM look, you can delve into the factory service manual of your car and trace those wires back to wherever you're mounting your pump so that you can tap into it from there. I would not recommend this on anything other than that switch, however, because outside of the controller itself for smart pumps, the pumps themselves are going to be hydrauls and will need their own circuit. Now, as is best practice with adding any electrical component to your car, you're going to want to have some type of fuse in between your new component and wherever you're getting the power from. Have it be the battery or the alternator. Now, this can be done with an inline fuse or a resettable fuse, aka a breaker. Now, these pumps can pull anywhere from 40 to 60 amps depending on if it's peak or not. So you're definitely going to want to go towards the higher end. That way you don't run into any issues where you're constantly replacing fuses or resetting the breaker. All you'll need going to the pumps are going to be power and ground. These are generally going to be the highest draw as well. So depending on the distance, I would recommend between 4 and 8 gauge. The smaller of which is the thicker cable. As for plumbing the pumps, you're going to need to do the research to figure out the specific AN adapter for the pump and for your rack. Now, making AN hoses is relatively simple. Granted, you have a vise or something that you can lock the hose down to or the fitting down to while you're putting the hose together. Now, you're going to want to go with exclusively PTFE hoses. This is because these are going to be able to support the pressures needed for power steering systems, as well as they won't degrade over time due to the oils that are in the power steering fluid. And that's pretty much all the information you're going to need to be able to get this done. The rest of it is going to be sweat equity. Now, if you like this video, please do hit the like button down below. And if you have not already, please do consider subscribing, clicking that bell icon and selecting all so you get notified whenever I do drop new videos. Every now and again, I'll do a video like this, breaking down some of my longer videos into bite-sized pieces where you get the information that you need. But usually, I like to work on my cars and take you guys along with me on that journey. If you're not familiar with my channel at all, I have a 1986 Nissan 300ZX of which I have pulled the motor out of fully built and am going to be turbocharging here in the very, very, very near future. In addition to that, I have a 1999 Porsche 911 that I am going to be doing, let's just say, a lot of modification to. If you're curious at all about either of those builds, I will leave a card up in the top right hand corner to playlists for you to be able to check them out. But as always, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you found this helpful, please do let me know down below. And if you have any other questions, also let me know down there in that comment section. As always, I want to thank you again for watching. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next one.